All right, we're going to quickly go to Chris, and then the 45-minute pre-taped I did with Mike Lindell, unveiling the gift Jimmy Kimmel sent me, and much more. Great interview we pre-taped with Mike Lindell the other day. Let's go quickly to Chris. Chris, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me back, Brannon. I certainly enjoyed your last guest. She's wonderful.
Isn't she smart?
Yeah, very, very smart. I agree with everything she said.
Excellent. Well, I'm sorry we're running a little behind, but I just can't quit talking to her because it's so fascinating. But in the meantime, okay, so yesterday, bringing you on, what happened to AT&T and Verizon yesterday? And this keeps happening. 24 states. I tried to make a phone call, get a fast busy to one of my friends. I got a couple up, couldn't get through. I'm like, what is going on? And then I checked the news, 24 different states having trouble with AT&T and Verizon. Again, this has happened like 3 or 4 times now in the last 6 months. What's going on?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. This is, a pattern that's developed this year, and, it seems to just not be going away. I mean, the AT&T and the other carriers have given us some kind of excuses or reasons and so on, but they don't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, last time it was a software update, apparently, but if I update the software on my computer, Brannon, it doesn't affect your computer, right? I mean,
no.
So, I don't know. Obviously, only they know the facts. But look, I mean, I think what it shows is that these networks are vulnerable, whether it's the management can't control their own networks or they're being hacked or attacked. The fact is that we can't rely on them the way we should be able to. And if you think about it, if everyone couldn't use their cell phone for 24 hours, what would happen to this country? Like, I don't know. I don't want to know. But they are essential. We're so used to be able to communicate. And so, if we leave the house without our cell phone, we turn around and go back and get it because we just don't know what to do without it. But there's only one thing you can do if the cell networks go down or the towers go down, and that's get a satellite phone, because satellite phones don't rely on any kind of ground-based infrastructure. They don't use cell towers. They talk directly to the satellites in the sky, and that means that anywhere on Earth, as long as you can see the sky, you can make or receive a call. So it's really the only solution. And I think with the way things are going, not just with these outages, but given the way things are happening with the shaping up for the election, and remembering that the government, the FCC, controls cell phone service and communications, I think it's very wise time to have a backup method of communication, and that would be a satellite phone.
Absolutely. All right. And we now have a comment. I don't know if this is going to be in Russian or what. Well, let's play it because I'm going to be hearing it for the first time. I just got notified of this. Listen to what Putin has come out and said recently here.
Давайте не доводить не только до использования, а даже до угрозы использования. Почему-то на Западе считают, что Россия никогда этого не использует. У нас же есть ядерная доктрина. Посмотрите, что написано. Если чьи-то действия будут угрожать нашему суверенитету и территориальной целостности, мы считаем для себя возможным использовать все имеющиеся в нашем распоряжении средства. Нельзя относиться к этому легко, поверхностно. Нужно относиться профессионально. Я надеюсь, что так и все в мире будут относиться к вот таким к решению вопросов подобного рода.
Wow. Okay. So we add that, Chris, to the other news today that's over at worldviewreport.com, your daily aggregated news site. Here it is. Russia declares U.S. an enemy state for the first time amid strained relationships. Russia declares U.S. an enemy state. Also yesterday, look at this, worldviewreport.com. Let's go down the page here because we put so much news up, it gets shoved down to the bottom. Here we go. Biden administration allowing Iranian military activity in the Gulf of Mexico. Chris, I'm 55. There are those in the audience that are younger. There are those in the audience that are older. I don't know how old you are. I don't know what your background is as far as tracking, geopolitics. But I don't there's never been a time in my life when we have, and I got friends of mine that have been in the military at high levels, like Dr. Colonel Manus. He was the commander of Kirkland Air Force Base. He was inside the area and arena of the Pentagon where they deal with nuclear issues. And he helped write the manual for the nuclear football carried by the military officer near the president. He says, in my adult life, I've never heard this word nuclear war thrown around so much. What do you make of all this? And again, I talk to people this audience would know tonight. Increasingly, national figures are telling me they're not saying there won't be an election. They're telling me they will not be shocked if there is not some massive big event in the U.S. that stops there from being an election. Did we lose you? Did we lose you? Are you muted? There we go. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Okay. I'm 55 also, funnily enough. And I agree with you. You and I grew up with it. We had the Cold War. We had Berlin. We had all kinds of things going on. We had hijackings for the first time in the Middle East. And, that was all pretty scary, but there was always this kind of balance of mutually assured destruction that both sides took seriously, or seriously enough not to use nuclear weapons. But, what we're seeing now, Putin seems to me like he's that KGB general in East Berlin when the wall fell and they were beating on the doors, and that's who he is, right? And he was determined to get it, to get back at the West for what they'd done to him and to his country, his beloved country and empire. So I think, he's kind of backed into a corner right now, and he's going to use
everything. The key? They have backed him into this corner. I'm not an apologist for Putin. But we have night after night after night, we report on how Hans Stoltenberger, Secretary General of NATO, and all of these other guys in Washington, Blinken and all the rest of them, are pushing this. They are now openly bragging about Western military equipment being given to Ukraine, encouraging Ukraine to shoot over into Russia. Going after their early warning system. That early warning system, as I reported on the Worldview Report tonight, that early warning system has nothing to do with the war or conflict in Ukraine. It has to do with incoming missiles from other countries like the United States or other places. So for us, our CIA, who clearly wants us in World War III, to be encouraging the use of these Western weapons to strike deep into Russia, going after their, advanced warning systems that have nothing, again, to do with the conflict in Ukraine, is inviting and asking for war. They're pushing him into a corner.
No, you're right. And look, just because you can, it doesn't mean to say you should. What's the goal here? Unless the goal is to get into a third world war, and there's certainly a lot of interests who would love to see that. It's very profitable. It shifts power around the way they like, But look, we don't want to end up there, but we're forcing his hand, right? And when we don't need to, right? We don't need to be supplying weapons that can reach into Russia from Ukraine. It's one thing to help them. It's another thing to help them go on offense, and stir up the hornet's nest. But we stirred up the hornet's nest. We've seen Putin cozying up to North Korea now in a big way, and it's like, it's inevitable what's going to happen. He's not going to give in, right? He's not going to go away. Right, he's going to go down fighting, and he has a big arsenal to fight with, and there's nobody's going to win. This situation. If we get into a third world war, there'd be no winners. There'd just be a question of who lost the least, but we would all lose. And so I think you're right. It's like, yes, we know how many weapons we have. We know we have maybe superiority in a lot of ways. But if our goal is to maintain peace here in the United States and around the world, then we're not doing it right.
Yeah, we're not doing it right. All right, so let me come back to this before we go to Mike Lindell. Dangerous times, all that's going on, with Iran running around the Gulf. We've got subs from other countries that are, potential conflict nations running around off our shores. We've got this war that's escalating in Ukraine. We got the Middle East. It seems to be the goal of World War III. So I don't know what's coming. What I would like to know, though, is What is the average age of the person that's buying a satellite phone from you guys at Worldview Talk? What's the average age, and what is the motivation? Who are they buying it for? Can you tell me that?
It does skew older, Brannon, and I think that's because once you get to our age, right, you've seen a lot, and you know that anything can happen, and you know that you can't just rely on, all the institutions and what's happened in the past. You have to be prepared, and you learn that it's not like we're all on our own, but we should be self-reliant. And so I think people who've been around a while understand that, and they understand that they need to be responsible for themselves so that they can help other people, or the people who are helping us and fighting for us can, focus on those who need their support. So, but more and more people are waking up to the fact that the world is becoming a much more dangerous place, and technology has its blessings. But on the other side, it's like, look, if AT&T goes down, half this country can't make a phone call, right?
So who's buying them? People that are older, and that's me and my demographic. So it's an older audience. They have the knowledge, they have the financial, most of them have the financial discretionary income for it. Who are they buying them for? Are they buying them and giving them to their college students who are away, few hours or several hours from home? Are they giving them to their senior adult parents? Are they giving them to their spouse and saying, here, when you travel out of town, take this with you because I want to know that if the systems go down, I can reach you? Who are they buying them for?
It's actually all of the above. They're buying them for their elderly parents. They're buying them for their kids who are away from home, because they know that, in a disaster, the worst thing really can end up being not knowing, right? Not knowing if your wife's okay, if your kids are okay, if your parents are okay, your friends are okay, what's going on with your business. It's like not knowing can be worse than, actually getting injured or killed. It's that stress. And if you have the ability to communicate, then you have the ability to take action. So we have a lot of smart people in their 40s and 50s who have families and are buying them for themselves, yes, but in their extended family as well, because they know the most important thing to them isn't their flashy car or their big house, or their stocks and bond and gold. It's their family, right? So that's what they want to know. Are they okay? And if they're not okay, am I able to help them, or are they able to help themselves? And a satellite phone, as simple as it might sound, is the one thing that can get you out of a jam when nothing else can.
So what about people that are replacing their cell phones with satellite phones? You get 150 minutes of talk and text. I mean, I don't know how much people talk. Some people don't hardly talk on them at all. I guess you can get various plans. Do you see a trend where people are just ditching the cell phones and just using their satellite phone, or is this strictly the backup for an emergency?
Well, it used to be strictly the backup, Brannon, but now it's become much more, it's being driven by the fact that the cell phone providers and the phone manufacturers are looking at all your data. They're archiving it.
Are you able to track somebody? Does the cell phone provide the satellite phone provide more privacy?
100%. Like that, any cell phone can provide your location to within 2 or 3 feet of accuracy, right? Anywhere on Earth, right? And the cell phone companies know that. The law enforcement agencies know that, right? A satellite phone, the closest you can get to tracking someone is 50 square miles, which is like, look, Brannon, I've said it before. I lose my remote control on my couch. And I spend 20 minutes looking for it.
I don't do that. I just ask my wife, where's the control? Yeah. And I come back 15 minutes later when she's finally found it.
No, exactly. So 50 square miles is useless. Also your cell phone has a camera and a microphone, which is watching you. It's listening to you. It's parsing the words that you're saying. It's archiving that data, and God knows what else is being done with it. But it is being used. It is being sold. And it's certainly not being used in our favor. I don't know the last time you got a check from Apple or AT&T, but I never got one.
No. No. So you're telling me the satellite phones then don't track you within a 50-mile radius. You're somewhere in that area, which is really not tracking you so much. So you're telling me some people are ditching the cell phones and using these now full time. So I know that one plan is 150 minutes, text and talk. You must have other plans that go up to give people more minutes then, right?
Yeah, we do. Obviously, the more minutes you prepay for, you're buying per month, the cheaper it gets and so on. But the minutes can also be rolled over as well. So if you're not using them and for 6 months you're not using them, suddenly a hurricane hits and something, you're flooded, you need the phone, you're going to have all those minutes waiting for you. And we did that because, we don't want to send you a hefty bill after you've just lost your house and maybe some loved ones, right? It's like we want to make sure you have all the minutes you need, without going bankrupt, trying to save your family and save yourself.
Excellent. Okay, tell me real quick before we let you go and go to Mike Lindell. Let me go back to the website. We're at worldviewtalk.com is the website, worldviewtalk.com. There he is. Okay, so we've got the satellite phones. We mentioned that. We got the cell phones that don't track you. And then we've got, of course, we've been promoting quite a bit, the generators, the solar generators. I have the 400, Echo Pro 400, which is in here somewhere, but I have that one. Where is that Echo 400? There it is right here. So I've got that one right there. And all of this is at Worldview Talk. Why don't we put up the phone number? There is a phone number that is exclusive to us, folks, in the top right-hand corner, 1-866-738-3224. And you can ask questions of the operator there about any of these services. 1-866-738-3224. Let me ask you this in closing. So how popular are these, particularly the satellite phones, becoming? I mean, have you seen a spike in people switching to these, let's say in the last 12 months because of how weird the world's getting?
Yeah, I mean, the growth that we're seeing is exponential because I think people are starting to understand that the world is very much an unstable place. We used to, feel safe when I was growing up, we felt safe here. You weren't that worried. I mean, we do duck and cover under the desks for the nuclear drill, but things just felt more stable. Now nothing seems stable. And I think that is being shown in by the number of people who are taking steps to make sure they are ready for whatever happens next. I mean, look, how many floods and torrential and hurricanes and tornadoes have we seen in this country in the last 10 days? We've got so many people who've lost their homes, they've lost everything, and it's like, but if they're able to save their own lives, that's, obviously a huge plus. Yeah. And satellite phones are one way of doing that. But then there's the aftermath, and that's why we've been selling so many generators and solar panels. Because look, when the power lines go down, it's not like that they can pop them back up the next day and everything's good. It can take months, or even, look, ask anyone who lives in the lower Ninth Ward in New Orleans, years before utilities can be fully restored. Right. So you don't want to be without power. And look, it's great if you have a Generac or something like that, gas powered or propane powered generator, but that stuff runs out. The sun.
Yeah, and I have a Generac that's natural gas, but I'm not counting on it. That's why I got the solar generator, because I wanted at least to have something I could rely on to charge, some things that you're definitely going to want to have if the power went down for a few days or a few months or longer, sadly.
Yeah, no, the smaller units can charge a small fridge and so on, and all of your units like phones, so your satellite phone, torches, flashlights. The bigger units can charge your whole house and run your whole house with AC and lighting and everything.
Which one are you talking about for that?
So we've got, I don't want to get this wrong, but we've got the EcoFlow Delta 2 with extra battery portable solar generator, for example. Which is, I think, 10% off that right now. But look, I mean, these are big, powerful units. They're all portable, by the way. So if you're not using, if you don't need them for your home, you can take these units with you camping, hunting, fishing, and what have you, and they can power just about pretty much anything. And
huge
again,
output and strong build, 3,600 watts, and 6 times more durable. Remote control, monitor, and manage power usage, home backup, power plug and play solutions to outages. So you can run an awful lot on this, when you're saying.
Yeah, and all of these units have multiple, I think, 10 different plugs, so from USB to household plugs to, like, you name it. You can plug anything directly into these generators and power it, or the unit you're looking at here, the EcoFlow Delta 2, this can plug directly into the board for your house, the power board for your house, so it could just switch over seamlessly. So they're very flexible, but the sun, if the sun goes out, we've got a whole set of different problems, Brannon.
Yeah, we got backups to backups, but we really can't do much about backing up the sun now, can we?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
This will get you through pretty much anything at all.
All right. So if they want to ask questions, again, use that phone number at top right-hand corner, 1-866-738-3224, top right-hand corner in red at worldviewtalk.com, 1-866-738-3224. All right. Glad to know that you guys are there. Thank you for being on with us tonight, talking about these issues. And I think people should be taking this very seriously, as we have, as a family. And all I can say is thank you so much. Appreciate all you're doing.
All right. Thanks for having me on, Brannon. Cheers,
Thank
mate.
you, Chris. Chris checking in, worldviewtalk.com.